You like cats?
Yeah.
I have two cats. They are the world's nicest cats. This is Ty, T-H-A-I, Ty.
Ty.
And that's Pharos. I named him after a horse I rode in the Olympics. Well, there's my two Olympic medals, see? Riding was my best event in pentathlon.
Running was your...
Running was my worst. And that's why I became a running coach, because I wanted to learn more about it. And that was the reason I went to Sweden to school, because that was a fitness school. And man, did you have to work at that school. And I also got to have a really interesting year coaching in South America, in Peru. I coached with this guy here. You know who that is? Larry Snyder. Larry Snyder was retired from Ohio State that year that I was with him. And he taught me one really great thing about coaching. He says, coaches don't make athletes, athletes make coaches. You know what he had for an athlete in his first year coaching at Ohio State? Jesse Owens. Yeah. This guy, Tom Von Ruden, I don't know if you ever heard of him. Tom was 9th in the Olympic 1500. And his high school PR in the mile was 4:34. Wow. And people say, oh, if you can't run better than 4:20, you're not going anywhere, you know? That's baloney. Well, there's the altitude. It's not a very good picture, but that's the altitude track in South Lake Tahoe.
Right.
See all the trees? Well, here's the testing we did. See, that's the kind of testing we did on the track, and that's in South Lake Tahoe. I measured their oxygen consumption. You just drive along beside the runner sitting on the hood of a car instead of a treadmill. These are all my subjects in my 68 research. See, there's Jim Ryan, Tom Von Ruden, George Young, Bob Schul, Jerry Lindgren, Oscar Moore. These are all my 26 subjects from my research. I had these two Australian guys. I recruited them, and they ran for me at Oklahoma City University.
Wow.
And Ron Clark was in this country. He came to visit them. So Ron Clark in 1968 was training in Los Angeles when I was down there testing some of my subjects at sea level. And he was on the UCLA track. And I went over to him and I said, Ron, you ever been, I never met him before in my life. I said, you ever been tested for VO2? And he said, no. I said, would you be willing to? He said, sure, why not? I drove up beside him with that car, and we tested right on the UCLA track, Ron Clark. That test, for a max test, they had to do 5 laps. 5 laps on the outdoor track, with me driving beside them, collecting their expired air. And the first lap was easy, and he ran at about 85. Then I said, okay, Ron, you got to pick it up about 5K race pace. And he was so smooth that I didn't feel he picked it up. And I said, Ron, we got to get going a little faster. I'm not going to get a max. And I still didn't feel like he picked it up much. So I said, I better shut up or he's going to quit if I keep yelling at him to go faster. He ran his last 3 laps with all that headgear on and everything else in 3:04. The guy was unbelievable. And I mean, I'd never met him before in my life. I just walked up to him and said, would you be willing to be tested? Now, come on. What kind of a guy is that? There's Ryan and Chris McCubbins up at Alamosa. And Chris McCubbins was this guy that I said if you're hurting someplace, think of someplace else. Unfortunately, Chris passed away from leukemia, blood cancers, a few years ago. Unbelievable guy. He was the fittest guy I've ever tested as a 50-year-old, ever, maybe in the world. His VO2 max, I don't know if you know what VO2 max is, but his VO2 max as a 24-year-old was 78.6, which is really high. The year he was 49, it was 76.
Wow.
This guy was unbelievable. Here. Well, there I'm testing paddlers in Canada. See the hoses they got? We used to test Canadian paddlers, canoe and kayak paddlers. Oh, I like to tell people about, this is one of my subjects on the treadmill.
You worked with the cheetah?
Yeah. I like to tell people I do that.